Welcome back to another episode of the Unraveled and Rising podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Diaz. We've got Jennifer Pagani and we've got Jill Vega with Mindful Wellness here in Colorado. And welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thrilled to have you.
So on the microcurrent neurofeedback, if somebody you could tell was not very motivated to really go deep into talking about things or really start EMDR or something like that, would you suggest this being a treatment that you wouldn't have to do any of that and just start
perfect.
with neurofeedback? Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect for people that don't want to get into the details of what they've been through. So that's why, we want them to start with us, because usually they're not at a point that they're ready to talk. And then further down in the treatments, they may feel their system's calm. They may feel some distance from the traumas that they've been through, that then they're able to actually talk about it if they want to. So this treatment can work on its own, but we have found out that for people that have really deep-seated or lifelong traumas, it's good for them if they're able to go through other therapies or other modalities in conjunction with ours.
The reason I ask is because I do a lot of stuff in the recovery center, recovery space, and the ones that don't continue are the ones that it's just so horrific that it's just too scary to talk about it or to talk about any of that. So that's why I was asking, because I would love to have something to say, this is a place that can help you with that, but not necessarily have to face it at this time or talk about it right now.
And that's why it works so well for traumas, because you can just sit in here, we listen to pretty music, and we can just heal without having to relive anything that you've been through. It's a safe place. You can talk if you want to, but you don't need to. We can actually just sit and be wrapped in blankets and listen to spa music. And then within 15, 20 minutes, the treatment's done. What's that, Kimberly?
I said I always take a blankie.
Yeah.
So how is this different than, you guys have probably heard of triple vagal method?
Triple vagal method.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just wondering what the difference is with that. So it's just really strengthening your vagal tone. But again, I didn't have to ever talk about anything. It was mostly recognizing where things were stored in the body. So I was just wondering, maybe it's kind of around the same thing.
No, Tara, the difference, because I did the triple vagal too. They put like electrodes on your brain.
Okay.
And you just, they put on music and it's like you get, although it took me like 6 or 7 treatments before we started to really see stuff with me. We were almost wondering if it was because of my deep brain stimulation. But I think my brain was I think I was just having a hard time kind of letting go.
Okay.
And that's not entirely uncommon, Kimberly.
Yeah.
I mean, 50% of people will notice some positive change after just one treatment. But we tell people, give it 10 treatments. Almost all the studies report about an 80 to 85% positive change within 10 to 20 treatments. We see a lot of people very early on with big changes, but it's not the expectation we like to set, because nothing's wrong with you. It just may be that your brain might be a little bit more resistant because it's in that protective mode. And that's okay, and sometimes environment, feeling safe, all of that takes a little bit of time. So first time you go to a new office could be a little disjointing for some people. And that might affect their ability to really calm down and get into those gamma brain waves. So
I was going to ask a question. Once you start seeing changes, so then they have to keep doing routine coming in to keep it, or does it just, once it's fixed, or is it like a maintenance thing where they have to keep coming back? I'm just curious. I don't know.
That's a good question. So we tell people to plan on needing somewhere between 20 and 30 treatments, because the brain gets stuck in this place of protection, and then it lives there. If it's lived there its whole life, or even if it's lived there for a couple of years, it becomes like homeostasis, right? It's protecting. It gets stuck in these loops. And so we're coming in and we are shifting it out of that space that it's been living in. And it's going to feel good and the person's going to feel great and things move on. And then it's going to go back to what it's used to because it's been living here for so long. And so we play this kind of ping pong game back and forth. And most people start seeing sustainable changes around 20 treatments in. So they'll feel good way before that, but then it starts to waver off by the time their next treatment is scheduled. So we plan on twice a week for the first 10 weeks. At that point, we start tapering down. And if they have amazing results by 15 treatments in or 10 treatments in, we might start trying to taper before that. There are a few situations and conditions that do require some maintenance treatments, but maintenance looks different for everybody. Someone it might be every 2 weeks, someone it might be every couple of months. It just depends on that person and so many factors, right? Like environment, how stressful is your environment, your work environment, are you on medications, all sorts of things. So, but there's a good amount of people that the treatments are sustainable. So once they reach a good place, we'll say, okay, come see us again in 20 years when life has gotten the better of you again, right? Or something big happens.
My brain is not fully understanding. Kimberly, Terry, or you guys, I don't know. Can you explain exactly what's happening in your brain with this electricity? Is it stimulating parts of your brain that are not doing well? Is it helping with neural pathways, changing that? I mean, look, what is it actually doing?
So what it's doing is it's stimulating those gamma brain waves. So it's getting in touch. I call it like it's like a symphony that's happening. It's like delivering a language, right? To us, it almost looks like Morse code. It's this delivery of electricity, and the brain's response. They don't know how it works exactly, other than they delivered this language, and the brain responds in this way. And the response is that we are stimulating the alpha, theta, and delta brain waves.
So is this where you would see where like a chaotic brain and then all of a sudden you'd start to see some order come in with the brain waves? Okay.
Exactly.
I had a client describe it once. If a child's standing in the corner having a tantrum and the mom comes in and starts screaming at the child, telling the child to calm down, it's just going to bring even more chaos. But if a mom comes in with a very soothing voice and brings down the energy, then the child calms down quicker. And that's basically what we're doing. We are using the language of the brain to tell the brain to calm down. And they don't know why it will all calm down, but it will. And so forcing it out of sympathetic into parasympathetic, that's where it can heal itself. Because the brain that is here in fight or flight doesn't work properly. No. And your immune system goes down.
It feels like being in a deep meditation is what it feels like when you leave there. You feel like you were just in like a 5-hour Dr. Joe.
Which is
right.
For a lot of people, but everybody's brain, everybody's body, and metabolic state, there's so many variations. So when we're first talking to somebody and we're doing a consultation, we let them know we don't know how you're going to react. For a good portion of people, it does feel like you've come out of a deep meditation, and you might even be a little bit floaty feeling.
I always want to lay on a hammock afterwards. I just
sometimes it's a feeling of euphoria,
Yeah.
and then for other people it's did anything happen, and it's a delayed response, and so for some people it's 4 or 5 hours later is when they start to really notice differences, and for others they don't actually have a feeling. It's just they realize that they're responding to things different. I'll get a message saying, okay, I didn't feel anything, however somebody cut me off in traffic and I just waved them in, and
I lost my bags in the airport and I didn't take the woman's head off. And that's the little things.
But I would say the majority of people do feel like what Kimberly described. It's like you're coming out of a deep meditation. And in fact, some studies have equated an effective treatment to the equivalent of 10 hours of meditation.
Wow.
So that encourages me with continue my meditation.
Significant.
Yes.
But
right. And oftentimes I'll tell people, you can maintain these results organically if you can,
Yeah.
if we can get you to a calm state and then you can learn how to effectively meditate, you don't need to come back for treatments.
That's exactly what happened to me in my triple vagal treatments.
Yeah.
She had said one time she felt like my body was actually calling for the calm, and so she kept, because it's almost like it wants that. It's gotten so much. So she asked me about my meditation, and I realized how much my meditation was actually helping with my dissociation and actually helping with my own vagal, just strengthening my vagal tone, just with my meditation. So it was incredible. I had a question though. What's the difference between, or is it the same thing? The transcranial magnetic stimulation, is that the same thing? TMS?
No, all of them are completely different. So any type of neurofeedback that you hear about, or even like magnetic stimulation or any other, neurological stimulation or feedback is completely different. The only thing that is similar would be LENS, which is low
energy neural stimulation.
Yeah, and this is the development from LENS, and yeah. To my understanding, and we try not to speak on other modalities that we're not experts in, but to my understanding, it's not even apples to apples. That's a comparison of apples to oranges. So pretty much anything, neurofeedback is just a blanket or umbrella term for doing any sort of treatment based on brainwave activity data, that you collect. So if just like biofeedback can be a temperature check or, a blood pressure, neurofeedback is the same thing. It's just receiving data from the brain and then doing a treatment based on that.
Awesome.
So that's why
Kimberly said the thing on the head. We do TMS at Eating Recovery, and they put something on their head, and they do that. They pair that with when they're doing ketamine treatments. Right. So I didn't know what if that was the same or if it was different, because it was. So thanks for that.
It's using magnetic force that I know of, but we're using different languages for the brain. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can you guys share a little bit about kind of how, so these two sisters are like, they have such a unique, special bond about, when Jen was having a hard time and then reached out to you, Jill, and kind of how this university made this happen?
So my story, I was in Alabama at the time because I had gone there for a marriage that ended up not working out, and I'm a nurse and I had been working at the hospitals, and I realized my time was coming where I was going to be losing my nursing license because I had a hard time conforming to the way that we were doing medicine. It was just always pills and, treating symptoms. Yeah, just treating symptoms. Covering up symptoms, actually, not treating them, just covering them up.
Welcome to Western healthcare.
So I became disenchanted and knew I needed to figure out something else to really get to the root cause. So I actually started looking for jobs, potentially working with like a holistic doctor or something that incorporated more of, the whole body approach. When I came across this, it was from a couple therapists that were doing it out there. And I actually didn't even know what I was going to interview for, but I knew that it was for alternative medicine and that was right up my alley. Or I thought it was. And anyways, once I was introduced to it, I couldn't turn back. The problem was the two that I were working for didn't go through the proper training and that sort of thing. And so I realized I couldn't stop doing it, but I needed to do it ethically. So I somehow fell into my own business. And then it wasn't long after that, maybe 6 months with my doors open, where Jennifer gives me a call and she was really struggling.
So I was suffering from anxiety. I was working at Boulder Community Health as a sonographer, and I was working 10 to 12 hour days, and I was taking call. And kiddo in competitive sports. So if anybody has any kids, and you just don't stop. And so I was on that treadmill of call and 10-hour days and baseball every weekend. And it was just, I was miserable. And I was having panic attacks, and I was taking a lot of sleeping pills to go to sleep because that was the only relief I would have.
And I didn't even I mean, this is not Jennifer, this is, she was my happy butterfly hippie sister who, all of a sudden it was like, who am I talking to? She was just
a shell. I was a shell, a burnt out shell. And Jill kept saying for years, she was out in Alabama doing this, you need to come try it. And to be honest, our entire family thought it was snake oil. Like, best friend, what has Jill gotten herself into now? And she kept saying,
because I don't settle.
No, I know. She keeps it interesting for all of us. But she kept saying, come out here. And I don't know. I had no interest in going to Alabama.
Well, plus your life was just so crazy.
Yeah, there was no time and we had no money. Like, it was just crazy. And so back in March of 23, Brandon, can I say husband? Yes. I love him dearly. We're best friends. But soon to be ex-husband, but I do love him dearly. He found out that he had melanoma. And our uncle, when he was 33, died of melanoma. So for me, this was a death sentence. And that spiraled me to the point I can't even tell you. And I couldn't take the medications and work at the same time. I was just a mess. So Jill says, come out here, I can help you. So I got on a plane with my good friend Jessica, and we went to Alabama. And the very first time I saw Jill, we went to her office, and there were probably 15 firefighters, paramedics, first responders. I don't know. It looked like an emergency was happening outside her office. Later, find out it's the Alabama first responders, and they all went to treatments together.
One of the supervisors had started, and it was such a big, they kept me alive for a long time, but and that's where I realized my heart and soul was in first responders, but the supervisor had started was such a huge change for her that she allowed them all to come even on duty, and so my office constantly had ambulances out front, and I can't imagine what my neighbors thought.
Yeah, and I was really interested in learning more about what she was doing, but I didn't really trust. She was saying, "Oh yeah, I can take care of your anxiety," and I'm just at this point
with no medications,
and 2 times a week I'm having panic attacks. And telling Brandon, take me to the hospital this time because this time I'm really dying. And so I sat down at that chair, and she put on the leads for the first time, and I cried the entire time. Like, it was just this huge relief. I was 10 out of 10 anxiety. It brought me down to 2 out of 10. I haven't had, from that moment back in March of 23, I haven't had a panic attack. We joke that I'm chasing butterflies now, when before I just couldn't. Like, sometimes I lean a little bit too far. Like, did I pay that toll bill? Do I care?
You're still able to get through life.
No, I pay it. I just don't.
I do the same thing. It's so funny.
But she said, "Oh gosh, yeah, I do care." So she sent me a machine home so I could start treating Brandon, because Brandon, with the melanoma, that's immune system, right? So how does a brain in fight or flight have an effective immune system? So she sent me a machine home to treat Brandon and also start treating my parents. And when you get so excited about something, I started treating a few friends and whatever, and I never expected really to leave the hospital. So much training, so much whatever in ultrasound, but I never expected to find anything like this. And so my good friend Jessica, who had gone out there with me, she's much more business oriented than I am. And so she helped set up the business, and we were partners for a while. And then it was just taking too much time from her home life. And the day that she told me that she couldn't, because building a business takes a lot out. When she told me that, this was back in March of 24, I think. Within 24 hours, Jill calls and says,
No, the day before that, I had told my ex-husband I was leaving him. And Jennifer called the very next day and said, my business partner just quit. And I said, okay, I guess I'm coming home. I had a great staff. I had a great team out there that ended up just taking over the office. And so I came back here, and we've just been on this mission together. You know, when you have something, it's a really special technology. When you have something that can turn around somebody who's suicidal, you know, or somebody who's going through extreme grief that they're handicapped every day, you know, and not able to go to work, not able to function. When you have that thing that can actually help and not numb somebody out,
right.
It becomes a mission. And that's why there aren't days that we don't work. There's not enough hours in the day. And we've gotten months sometimes without paychecks. We've both, you know, we take pro bono clients. We will do whatever we need to do in order to get this out to the community and to the world. We are not comfortable in front of cameras. We're not comfortable on stages. But the mission is it's more powerful than our discomfort, right? So we get out there, we share what we need to, but really we survive mostly based on word of mouth, because it's a treatment that's actually effective. And when somebody comes in and they feel better, they want other people that they love to feel better. And so it just naturally stays alive for us.
Yeah, it completely changed my world. I'm alive now. I was really just dead, you know, and my son finally gets to know who his mom is.
That's great.
He wouldn't have known me before.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to ask, does it have an impact on, this may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. People with dementia, people on the autism spectrum, anything like that, could it have a positive impact?
All of it. And you know, it's part of the reason that we have a hard time advertising, because it's everything under the sun that you can think of. You know, when the brain is able to heal, it's incredible. The things, you can only describe them as miracles. I've had people come in, you know, right after a stroke or a TBI that they're not able to speak, and all of a sudden they're speaking again.
Wow.
Tics that are undiagnosed, you know, unknown etiology. They go for MRIs, they're meeting with neurologists constantly, and there's no reason that they have these uncontrollable tics or whatever it may be. And our treatments will do it. It's the body's miraculously made, right? It can do miracles. It just needs to be in the right environment to do that. So we can't guarantee anybody that comes in and say, okay, this is definitely going to happen for you. But what we can guarantee is that we are going to do our best to get that brain into the best state that it can heal itself. Yeah. What we've seen with dementia and cognitive improvements is it will certainly, or at least in my experience, certainly improve symptoms. It's not going to, depending on what stage we're at with the dementia or Alzheimer's, we're not going to regrow brain that is atrophied, right? But we can potentially really slow down that process. Yeah, and for autism, what we've learned, you know, obviously it's not going to, this is where, you know, the terms that people sell this is a little gray or fuzzy for me, because it doesn't rewire the brain. You know, sometimes it can break loops, negative loops that the brain has gotten stuck in. But it doesn't change the fact that you have autism or ADHD.
Or Down syndrome.
Yes. I mean, you don't walk out with a completely different brain. You walk out with an optimal brain. You know, your brain gets basically optimized, upgraded to its best level, right? So some people do this for peak performance. There are professional athletes that do this. You're able to just, if anxiety or depression or all sorts of things, come along with some of those conditions like ADHD and autism. Those things generally improve. And there's a relationship that seems to happen with the person, that they start loving themselves again. So there's a self-love, a self-acceptance, which is really great for the people that come in with autism, or people that are just overworked, overstressed. Yeah.
We had a gentleman several months ago that we had seen with Down syndrome.
Severe Down
syndrome. Just angry. He can't communicate. He can't. So just angry. And so we started.
And had violent
tantrums.
Mm-hmm.
And what we were able to do with the treatment is just calm everything down when you put the brain in parasympathetic. So even though he couldn't express, his caregiver was able to call and say, he's upstairs whistling. I haven't heard him whistle and sing for 10 years.
Uh-huh.
So it just takes the temperature down pretty significantly.
Mm-hmm. We had one level 2 autistic client recently who said that, and he was able to communicate, but he had said that he felt like he was living underwater before, and then every once in a while would get a breath, and then he'd go back down underwater. And he said after treatments, he felt like his head was always above
He said the water is here, and that the water's here now.
I love this because this might be helpful for my son, Kimberly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It might be helpful for Antonio.
Yeah.
It's great for kiddos too, especially because they aren't long treatments. We're not giving them exercises for their brain.
Yeah, he's almost 30.
Okay.
And he lives in Colorado Springs. If somebody's looking for, if they're not in your area, because you're in the Denver metro area, correct?
We're in Boulder County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody's looking for something like this in their area, what would you recommend for them to look for to make sure it's, done ethically and, what the standards that you guys would recommend?
So IASIS is the company that developed this technology, and they can go on the IASIS website and look for practitioners near me. So put in their zip code. IASIS.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was able to find some by my son in San Diego by going to that website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Antonio's in Colorado Springs. He's a little bit far because he's in Colorado Springs.
I believe there's a practitioner in Colorado Springs. Jennifer, you know this better than I do.
I do not.
Okay.
But I know that they are popping up everywhere. It used to be we would be able to say, oh yeah, we're the only ones in the area, and that's not accurate anymore.
Okay.
Which is good. We think there should be one on every corner.
There's a liquor store on every corner. You get some neurofeedback on every corner.
Yes, absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I love that. And, Antonio is on the autism spectrum, but it's very slight. It's not like it's not severe. And I don't even know if that's really what he has, to be honest with you. He's been diagnosed with so many different things over the years, but I think he is struggling a little bit now with depression and maybe just outlook on life because of his circumstances. So I think this would be something that would be really positive for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is great. I had no idea. I'm going to do it for myself too. I'm in Dallas, and they've got to have it in Dallas. I'm sure
There's a lot of practitioners in Texas. I think one of the main developers with this technology lived I think he was in Houston.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few practitioners throughout Texas. One of the training centers is there.
And they also do training in Houston.
Yeah.
So
I love this.
But all the practitioners listed on that website are certified, and in order to become a practitioner, you need an RN license or above, or a therapist license or above, and then you go through a vetting process, an interview, and then you do online training, and then you do in-person training, and then and it's the same for anyone we hire. They have to go through that process as well. So anybody receiving these treatments from anyone who has gone through these certifications is in safe hands.
Love that. This is amazing.
I was going to mention, I know you guys treated Emily's dad, and he has Parkinson's, right?
He loves these treatments. So They noticed initially there was some improvement in his speech and in his walking. But if you ask him, the best improvement was just his joy in life again, you know.
Love that.
So, I mean, we're not going to reverse Parkinson's, but he's able to see the sunshine again and do a few things for a bit longer that he enjoys doing. Yeah.
I love that.
So you guys are at the FOP, which is where?
Westminster off of 84th and Alcott.
Mm-hmm.
And then
84th and 36th kind of.
And that office is open to the public. I mean, meaning civilians. You don't have to be an officer in order to book a treatment there.
Mm-hmm.
And then our main office is in Lafayette, which is on 95th and Arapahoe.
That's right. You
Okay.
got it.
First time. First time I got it right.
You've had the office for 3 years. You got it right.
And then we're also going to be treating at least, we're doing a pilot program for the city of Longmont.
Love that.
And depending on how that goes, we might get an additional space that will also be open to the public in Longmont. And then we're also looking for space out in Brighton. You were talking about the Victims Advocate. So we are working with the Victims Advocate, the Brighton Police Department. And then we've also touched in and been approved for some victims of crimes in Adams County.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we see victims after crimes have been committed.
Yeah, but the machine is able to go mobile.
Mm-hmm.
So we do take it mobile for those who can't come,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as long as there are 5 clients or more,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
we will travel. So even yesterday I've been traveling to Eaton, Colorado, which is a drive, but
Close to Wyoming.
it's, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
it's great music. I love the drive,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
but it's been kind of fun to set up in different locations too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I think
Fantastic.
that's
love
kind of
this.
that's a little bit of a different approach that mindful wellness does, which I hope other practitioners jump on board with, because I think it's important for some of these organizations. We're able to reach more people, you know, being mobile.
Especially the first responders. Well, if you can't easily access it, you know, after working a long shift or shifts that are 11 to 7, 7 to overnight, whatever, if you don't
Yeah.
have easy access, it can't get done, you know. And luckily our treatments can be 15 to 20 minutes, so they can get in and out over a lunch break, or so it's really quick for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps the employees, it helps the burnout
Mm-hmm.
for different businesses, and kind of helps the morale.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say mobile, are like, is it just in your car? Do you have to take a lot of equipment?
Not a lot of equipment. I mean, so the machine itself is almost looks like a battery pack, you know, and then we connect it to a program with a laptop. And so essentially we are just carting around a laptop and a battery pack and some electrodes and, you know, paste and that sort of thing. But yeah, it all fits in like a suitcase, and we can travel, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need 2 chairs and a TV tray, and we're set up.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've even gone to like victims' homes, and so we'll do house calls.
Or,
And,
yeah, we've had clients with agoraphobia that can't leave, and
Mhm.
gosh,
We've had
that was a
paralyzed
fun one.
patients
We-
that.
she had agoraphobia, and Jill calls me like 3-4 weeks after treatment started and said, so and so's going dancing tonight. And
Yeah.
What?
After
Wow.
2 weeks of treatments, I went to see this lady. Her husband called me in just desperation, and she had been clinically diagnosed as catatonic.
Yeah, I've seen
Major
that.
depressive disorder.
Yeah.
And when I first went, there was just nothing
Yeah.
behind her eyes. She hadn't showered. She hadn't changed her clothing in months. It was rough.
I had to like look at them and make sure they're breathing when they're in a
Yes.
catatonic state.
Yes.
It was
Well,
like
she was sitting there, but she just there was no registration, you know, when I was talking to her. So, Anyways, after 3 weeks of treatments, and I did her 3 times a week, I called Jennifer and I'm like, okay, her hair is done. She's dressed up. She's waiting for me to finish so she can go dancing.
Oh, that's
Just
so
the
cool.
most bizarre thing.
What a I
That's
just
crazy.
feel just how much you guys feel so grateful to be able to do this work for people.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
it's
how
a
you're
gift.
changing people's
it
lives.
truly
Yeah.
is a gift. It is.
Very
We wouldn't do anything else.
Mhm.
Like we, there were times, you know, and there's never been a time where somebody is in dire straits and we're looking at them and they are just panicking and depressed and we have a technology in between us and there's nobody that we're going to say no to. So that you know, we've traded chicken casseroles and we've traded volunteer hours and whatever. And there are months where we haven't gotten paid, but it is complete mission work for us because if you could be a fly on our wall and see what we see, then it wouldn't be any doubt. Oh, why do they do this? We do this because number
There's
one, we're meant to do it. We're meant to do it together. And it's
What
the
a
most
reward.
beautiful thing we could possibly do.
Very
Yeah.
Love it.
That's
We do
payment,
set up a,
right?
sorry, go ahead.
That's payment in itself.
Yeah.
It is.
The gifts that you are to others. Yeah.
Right.
We do try to figure out some kind of sliding scale or some way. There needs to be an exchange. I mean, obviously we need to keep our lights on. We need to be able to pay our bills to be able to continue to do this. And that's why it's really important for us that we have these like city and government contracts and things of that nature. We've
And
also
grants. We have a lot of grants that come through previous clients of ours that they like to pay it forward. So and through churches and the local churches a lot of times have mental health programs where you can receive assistance for mental health.
But the main thing is we've never approached any of these. We didn't approach cities, police departments, churches. That it's all been from people that have come through and talked to their pastors or talked to their command staff or whatever it is. But so it's just kind of, it is this mission work and the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is helping us pave this way and keeping our doors open. But for those that come through and they really can't afford anything, and they're in desperation, then we come up with something. And so sometimes that's look like, okay, well, what are your skills? What can we figure out we can trade? And sometimes it's been, okay, well, it's important to give and have that ripple effect. So we'll exchange an hour of community service for a treatment. And
that community service is really good too, because a lot of times we'll do those trades with people that are overcoming addiction. And sometimes their world gets so isolating. So it helps the community, but I don't know that they realize how much it's helping them. And therefore it'll help our treatments because they start to feel better. It is ripple effect.
Right.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for, I mean, I'm shocked, Kimberly.
Yeah.
This is your idea.
I told you. These girls got it going on. Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
we're just blessed. We're
blessed.
blessed that we stumbled into this. You know, we're not the ones creating the magic. We're just facilitating. We're just helping get it out there. Yeah.
Amen to that.
We'll definitely put it in the show notes, their website and how you guys have a website, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do.
Yeah.
Make sure all that gets to Michelle so she can add
Yes,
it.
I will put that in the show notes when we put this out there. And if any of you are interested, you can go to the website they recommend. It's IASIS. Yeah. To be able to find one in the area. Otherwise, contact them. Yeah, for sure. If you're in the Denver metro area, let them know. That would be great. And so this is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah. And we will travel up to an hour if we have if we have 5 or more, you know, so these contracts or these companies will contact us and say, we'd like to do a pilot program. We start off with 5 or 10 week program, depending on what they want to do. And as long as they have 5 enrolled, we will find a way to carve them into the schedule. So
I love it.
There is that we do do a travel fee if it's going to be more than a 30-minute drive though.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Love it.
Ladies.
Thank you so much,
Well,
guys.
thank you so much.
It's so nice to meet all of you and Kimberly.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks
Have a
so much for
wonderful day.
watching. For watching or coming back. If this is your first time, thanks for coming. And if it's you come back every week and watch us, we appreciate you. Like and comment, share. We love the comments. We've been getting some more comments recently. I answer every single one. So comment if you have any questions or need some more information. We're happy to direct you on that. But thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.